Hello, students. Let's start a new chapter, environmental issues. As you all know, the human population has grown enormously over last 100 years. This exerts lot of pressure on the natural resources as the demands are also increasing. It also contributes to the pollution of air, water, and soil. It's our duty to check the degradation and depletion of our natural resources and control pollution without halting the process of development. Pollution is not a new term for you. You all have learned about it in lower classes. Pollution is any undesirable change in physical, chemical, or biological characteristics of air, water, or soil. Agents that bring about an undesirable change are called as pollutants. In order to control environmental pollution, the Government of India has passed the Environment Protection Act in 1986 to protect and improve the quality of our environment. Pollution can be of three types: air pollution, water pollution, and soil pollution. Let's look into air pollution and understand what are the various ways to control it. All living organisms depend on air for their respiratory needs. So, air pollutants can cause injury to all living organisms. They reduce growth and yield of crops and cause premature death of plants. Air pollutants affect very badly on the respiratory system of humans and animals. Harmful effects depend on concentration of pollutants, duration of exposure, and the organism. Industries are one of the most important cause of air pollution. Smokestacks of thermal power plants, smelters, and other industries release particulate and gaseous air pollutants together with harmless gases such as nitrogen, oxygen, etc. These pollutants must be separated or filtered out before releasing the harmless gases into the atmosphere. There are several ways of removing particulate matter. The most widely used of which is electrostatic precipitator, which can remove over 99% of particulate matter present in the exhaust from a thermal power plant. It has electrode wires that are maintained at several thousand volts, which produce a corona which releases electrons. These electrons attach to dust particles, giving them a negative charge. The collecting plates are grounded and attract the charged dust particles. The velocity of air between the plates must be low enough to allow the dust to fall. The scrubber can remove gases like sulfur dioxide. In a scrubber, the exhaust is passed through a spray of water or lime. Recently, we have realized the dangers of particulate matter that are very small and are not removed by these precipitators. According to Central Pollution Control Board, particulate size 2.5 micrometers or less in diameter are responsible for causing the greatest harm to human health. These fine particulates can be inhaled deep into the lungs and can cause breathing and respiratory symptoms. Automobiles are a major cause for atmospheric pollution, at least in metro cities. As the number of vehicles increase on streets, this problem is now shifting to the other cities too. Proper maintenance of automobiles along with use of lead-free petrol or diesel can reduce the pollutants they emit. Catalytic converters having expensive metals, namely Platinum, palladium, and rhodium as the catalysts are fitted into the automobiles for reducing emission of poisonous gases. As the exhaust passes through the catalytic converter, unburned hydrocarbons are converted into carbon dioxide and water, and carbon monoxide and nitric oxide are changed to carbon dioxide and nitrogen gas, respectively. Motor vehicles equipped with catalytic converter should use unleaded petrol because lead in the petrol inactivates the catalyst. Let's see how can we control vehicular air pollution with the help of a case study of Delhi. In the 1990s, Delhi ranked fourth among the 41 most polluted cities of the world. Air pollution problems in Delhi became so serious that a public interest litigation was filed in the Supreme Court of India. After being censored very strongly by the Supreme Court, the government was asked to take appropriate measures, including switching over the entire fleet of public transport from diesel to compressed natural gas or CNG. All the buses of Delhi were converted to run on CNG by the end of 2002. You may ask the question, why CNG is better than diesel? The answer is that CNG burns most efficiently in the automobiles and very little of it is left unburned. Moreover, CNG is cheaper than petrol or diesel, cannot be siphoned off by thieves and adulterated like petrol or diesel. The main problem with switching over to CNG is the difficulty of laying down pipelines to deliver CNG through distribution points or pumps and ensuring uninterrupted supply. Simultaneously, parallel steps taken in Delhi for reducing vehicular pollution include phasing out of old vehicles, use of unleaded petrol, use of low sulfur petrol and diesel, use of catalytic converters in vehicles, application of stringent pollution level norms for vehicles, restricting vehicle use at specific times, etc. The Government of India, through a new auto fuel policy, has laid out a roadmap to cut down vehicular pollution in Indian cities. More stringent norms for fuels means steadily reducing sulfur and aromatic content in petrol and diesel fuels. Euro 3 norms, for example, stipulate that sulfur be controlled at 350 parts per million in diesel and 150 parts per million in petrol. Aromatic hydrocarbons are to be contained at 42% of the concerned fuel. The goal, according to the roadmap, is to reduce sulfur to 50 ppm in petrol and diesel and bring down the level to 35%. Corresponding to the fuel, vehicle engines will also need to be upgraded. Thanks to the efforts made, the air quality of Delhi has significantly improved. According to an estimate, a substantial fall in carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide level has been found in Delhi between 1997 and 2005. In India, Air Act came into force in 1981 but was amended in 1987 to include noise as an air pollutant. Noise is undesired high level of sound. We have got used to associating loud sounds with pleasure and entertainment, not realizing that noise causes psychological and physiological disorders in humans. The bigger the city, the bigger the function, the greater the noise. A brief exposure to extremely high sound level, 150 decibel or more, generated by takeoff of a jet plane or rocket, may damage eardrums, thus permanently impairing hearing ability. Even chronic exposure to a relatively lower noise level of cities may permanently damage hearing abilities of humans. Noise also cause sleeplessness, increased heartbeats, altered breathing rates, thus considerably stressing humans. How can we control noise pollution? Reduction of noise in our industries can be affected by use of sound absorbent materials or by muffling noise. Stringent following of laws laid down in relation to noise, like delimitation of horn free zones around hospitals and schools, permissible sound levels of crackers and of loudspeakers, timings after which loudspeakers cannot be played, etc., need to be enforced to protect ourselves from noise pollution. In this session, you have learned about air pollution and different ways to control it. We'll continue the chapter in the next session with another type of pollution and its control. Thank you for listening.